Prominent Bible scholar and brother-in-law of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued an urgent, theologically charged appeal in a new interview, asserting that only the Messiah, son of David, is fit to succeed Bibi, and warning that a political campaign to force his ouster is masking itself behind humanitarian slogans. Can you understand the magnitude of this? So not only Bibi Netanyahu and his maniac allies speak about biblical verses and Amalek and destroy all of them, kill all of the women and children and infants and babies, and they're actually implementing that in Gaza. Radical beliefs, violent beliefs, and they go and actually implement them in front of the whole world, by the way. And of course, Keir Starmer, Donald Trump and co., they don't speak about that. They don't tell you about their radicalism or extremism or none of that. And now his brother-in-law, prominent figure, like several religious figures in Israel, is saying that only the Messiah can replace him. He's basically paving the way for a full-throttle dictatorship, by the way, if you haven't understood it yet. No one is fit for purpose. So even if there were elections next year and people choose, they're not fit. Any opposition leader will not be fit to replace Benjamin Netanyahu, because only the Messiah can replace Benjamin Netanyahu. And he's talking about a historic opportunity that Israel is facing now to take control over all of the land of Israel. Expel the population, destroy Hamas, implement a migration plan, forced ethnic cleansing, like they established their state, and like how they ethnically cleansed the Palestinians in 1948 and 1967, and like how they constantly expel people from their homes and destroy their homes in the West Bank and Jerusalem and in occupied Palestine as well. He's saying that he needs to seize the opportunity and implement everything now, because this man is like a biblical figure. And Netanyahu is affected by people like him, by the way, by some rabbis who tell him, you're like the promised person of the state of Israel, you're the savior, or this, you're that, even though technically Benjamin Netanyahu is an atheist. He declared previously in closed circles that he's an atheist, that he doesn't believe in God. However, his cult view him as such, which shows you exactly what these people are about and what their beliefs even are about. And he ended up with a plea for Benjamin Netanyahu. Look what he said to him. Benarzi closed the interview with a direct message to his brother-in-law. Bibi, divine providence has given you a historic opportunity, perhaps the first in Israel's history, not only to defeat an enemy, but to solve the refugee issue. I pray, I plead, don't miss this opportunity. So we're talking about a person here viewing Benjamin Netanyahu as a prophetic figure, sitting there and implementing the dream of the smaller Israel and then the greater Israel. And again, despite these people talking from a belief perspective about their beliefs, about their intention to commit a genocide based on their belief, about technically having a dictatorship because of their beliefs, all of these statements are ignored, such as the facts on the ground. And Israel, it's as if they have no liability whatsoever. You heard the British Prime Minister. Failure to allow aid in. Children die because of it. There's a humanitarian crisis because things happen. No mentioning of Israel, no responsibility, no accountability, nothing of the sort. And because of this total complicity with Israel, the likelihood is, well, something much worse can come later on. We still haven't seen the end of it. Ceasefire or no ceasefire. Because so long as Zionism is there, run by maniacs, anything can happen. A war that it can explode and kill hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, them using nuclear weapons. All of these things are still on the table. Why? Because they are still enabled. And they're treating them as if they are normal human beings. They're not normal human beings. They are psychopathic mass murderers. What do you do to a psychopathic murderer individually in every country? You have him sectioned, don't you? Why is it that when a country called Israel does all of that in the name of Judaism, they're allowed to do so, and no one should criticize anything that they do? What, so if people have a state within a state and start mass murdering people, would that be acceptable? It wouldn't be acceptable anywhere. If an individual uses violence in any country, he gets imprisoned. In the US, he'll probably get the death sentence. Highest rates of death sentences in the US. But from an Israeli perspective, it's as if they are able to do that without any scrutiny whatsoever. Therefore, what we understand from all of this progress here is that these people are still giving Benjamin Netanyahu time and opportunity. And so long as he's there, because of the enabling that's happening from Western authorities and establishments to support Israel, he can come up with something even bigger now. They're talking about Iran again. They're talking about Hezbollah again. Every few weeks they carry out attacks in Syria or in Yemen and what have you, as if nothing is happening. So the situation is very dangerous. And if no severe action is taken to stop these genocidal maniacs, we could see something even more devastating. Because the official death toll that the authorities in Gaza, the health ministry in Gaza is speaking about is 60,000. They say that knowing that there is a very high likelihood of many more being martyred in this war, but they do that out of respect for their job. They need to verify, they need to have DNA checks, they need to have proof that that person has died and isn't just simply missing, either under the rubble or if Israel kidnapped them for organ harvesting or whatever. We know that Israel harvests organs from Palestinians. But with the starvation campaign that's happening and with people dying already because of starvation and malnutrition, it's only a matter of time up until we start to hear about 1, 2, 3, 4,000 people being killed a day. And the ethnic cleansing gets completed at some point because that's a strategy coming from Israel, clearly. And that's why they're trying to defend themselves now, saying, oh, no, Hamas propaganda campaign, and no one is starving to death, and they still have flour going in. Everything, it's a satanic experiment. It's one of the most vile experiments in history, conducted by the lowest of low of humanity in history. Not only that they landed 128,000 tons of TNT on the population, they're starving them to death. And all of what happened in the past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Airdropped aid, several airdropped aid wouldn't be an equivalent to one truck. They would probably kill people when they landed. And the people in Gaza are talking about only a few trucks going in that were already looted by the criminals that Israel supports in Gaza. Therefore, nothing changed. And up until there is a significant change, no action should stop, but only escalate. Up until there are genuine results. Because they're delaying things, because they're saying, oh yeah, we're talking, we're not talking, we might have negotiations next week, we might not have negotiations. But the people don't have time. The population that's starving, they don't have time. They don't have an hour, they don't have a minute. Every minute for them is crucial. Therefore, if every minute for them is crucial, every minute should be crucial for us too. Not simply to wait on action and another statement and a conference and next week and the week after. No, everything should remain at the same level and the pressure should increase up until this completely stops.